Does it drive you crazy, some of the injuries you've had, because they're freak things? It's nothing you can even look to prevent on the ice.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, it's not like it's groin or hip flexor or muscle pulls, right? I feel like I'm doing everything I can to prevent those injuries. I'm staying healthy that way. I feel like for me, it's just unfortunate with the injuries I've had. Like you said, they're just freak things. Shoulder falling into the boards, ankle, guy kind of falls on me, and it sucks being out. But it's just my luck right now, and I can get frustrated about it, or I can just try and get healthy and move on from it. And that's what I'm trying to do right now. Is not really think about it too much. Just try and get back and help the team win. So it's definitely sucked the last few years being out this much, but it's just my luck, I guess, right now.
When you left, you were playing with Boqvist, and you guys are really playing well as a top pair. How do you guys complement each other so well?
I think we just see the game the same way. He's an offensive guy. I'm an offensive guy. You can kind of read off him. I think he reads off me well. We kind of have that same mindset when we get the puck. Defensively, we kind of have that same mindset. I just think it works well together. We don't try and do too much. We find each other. We get pucks north to our forwards. He's a very smart hockey player, and I think he's really playing well right now, and it's easy to read off of. So for me tonight, getting back in the lineup, playing with him, it's just going to try and, I'm going to try and keep it simple, just read off him, and just keep things going the right way.
You've unfortunately kind of gained some experience here as far as having to come back from injuries. Have you figured out maybe the best ways to kind of knock some rust off, or you just have to get out there and play minutes?
Just get out there and play. There's nothing like playing games, right? Like I feel good in practice, I feel good off the ice, but when you get into a game situation, the game gets faster. You don't have as much time with the puck, things like that. So unfortunately, I do have a lot of experience with knocking rust off, but every time you come back from an injury, it's kind of always the same. It takes a little bit to get back into it, and hopefully it's not too long tonight. Hopefully I can kind of start playing my game right away.
You started this season in that same exact boat, from last season, with the shoulder. Did you feel before this last injury that you had kind of, started to become the top form that you're used to playing at?
Yeah, I thought I was playing well for the last 15 or so games before this injury. I think right before Christmas break I was playing really well. It sucks going down with this the first game back, but like I said, there's nothing I can do about it. Just going to try and play a good, solid hockey game tonight and build on it from here. Obviously, we have a break coming up in a few days, so it's important for me to get these 4 games in before break and try and kind of get back to where I was. And like I said, just try and help the team win in whatever way I can.
Pascal, great news with Zach coming back into the lineup tonight, right?
Yeah.
It's going to be exciting for you?
Well, we saw it coming, the way he was practicing. Really excited to have him back, yes.
We all know what Zach brings, but what kind of flexibility did Zach give you back there on the blue line?
It gives us options. Our breakouts, our transition game, our ozone plays, the way he skates, the gap control. He's a veteran player. He's an elite defenseman in the NHL. So, and on top of that, his presence around the team. He's a real smart man, so he brings way more than just on the on-ice aspect of the game.
Jake being back home, has there been a little bounce in his step over the last couple of days since he's back home?
You know what? When we look at his whole season, I'm very impressed with him. It's exciting for him to be around here for sure, but I think the whole season he's been really good for us. His reads are good. His preparation is good. He's a real good pro. He's been really consistent for us. He's a good teammate, and for him, it's always fun for those guys to come back home. But I think it's more than that. I think it's he's had a step the whole year, in my opinion.
Sounds like Yurchek's on his way maybe to Cleveland, obviously. How do you assess his season so far as well? As far as there's been some back and forth and that, would it have been better? And I'm only asking because I hear this a lot for him to just play this season in the AHL, or has his experience in the NHL?
I think there's a huge value of playing games in the NHL. He's played 36 games in the NHL, so he has a better understanding. But in David's case, we see a huge potential. And this young man has to play minutes. He has to be put on the ice. He has to be on the power play. He has to end of a period. And he's got tremendous skills, just skills that are hard to teach if you can teach them. Just retrieving pucks under pressure, really good at that. He plays with no fear. He can make good plays. And this is all great. Having said that, we're trying to build a 200-foot defenseman. We're trying to build an elite defenseman that will play heavy minutes against tough opponents and in key times. And in order to do that, he needs reps. And for him to develop those skills, the best way to do it right now, having been in the NHL for 36 games, we believe it's the best route for him. So it's he's a good player, but he needs to play. And it's not about our position in the standing. It's not about the other players. In his case, it's only about what is right for this young man and his future. And we don't want to develop just a good offensive guy. We just don't want to develop just a good overall player. We want to develop a champion, a top defenseman in the NHL, not just for the Blue Jackets. And that's a process. And we believe that's right now at this point, that's the best route. Having said that, and you all know, injuries happen, stuff happens. Who knows how long it's going to be. But I think he needs a little bit of stability. And the good thing about it, in my opinion, he's going to a team that is a good team. They're winning. They're aspiring to. They're going to make the playoffs, and hopefully a long run in the playoffs. And being in the playoffs is, regardless of the league, it's always beneficial for players. So I don't see any downside to it myself. So that's the path we're going to go. He
was in practice yesterday, obviously. Did he just find out this morning, and how did he take the news?
He listened. We spoke to him today, and we explained the plan, and so we left it at that. He was listening. It was good.
Well, you can probably understand if he's disappointed to go, right? Because he wants to
and the one part I told him that the one thing I like about him is his character. He wants to be in the NHL, and I love that. I told him, don't lose that. We want that from you, that character side of him. We also told him that part of his game is also a reflection on how he plays on the ice. He's got some swagger about him. We just felt that recently his confidence was getting down. He played more minutes against better opponents, and we don't want to lose his confidence. And we have so many examples of players that were put in the position a little bit too early. Not that they're not good, but it's just too early, especially for a defenseman, a young defenseman. And the results were not necessarily as good as expected. We want to build a real solid 200-foot that can bring offense too, but it can also defend. And there's some work. We want to work on his foundation, his skating, and all of that. His gap control are the main components. And I think he can evolve as a player by playing minutes in a league that he can be dominant right now. And that's the path we're going.
Every player wants to be at the NHL. Is he respectful of that process? Does he understand what he's got to go through to get to where he wants to be?
So we have kids, right? My daughter wants her own car. She's 13 years old. That's the Amazon effect. We all want things, and it's not about Yerich. It's everybody. Everybody wants it now, and I understand that. And we all do. All hockey players, they want to be in the NHL. There's a process, and everybody is different. And I think when we just look at him and his future, this is the best route. He needs to play minutes. So. Yes, he wants to be in the NHL, and we don't want to lose that. If he says, okay, I'm just going to go to the American League and become an American League player, we don't want that. We want him to think that way. Now, having said that, keeping that in mind, he needs to be really good in the American League, and I believe he will be. He's got enough talent and character to do it. So he builds his foundation, like I said, to become an elite defenseman in the NHL.
Coach, it's a hard league. It's really hard for teenagers. And with all of that in mind that you just said, Adam Phaneuf, as we approach the dog days of the season, how do you kind of make sure that you keep your foot on the gas, he keeps his foot on the gas,
Yeah.
and you don't see a burnout or a massive dip in what you need to see?
It's the NHL will keep you humble in no time. You're the best player everywhere, and then all of a sudden you're playing against the best players in the world every night. So what we've done with Adam, and part of it was injuries and stuff like that. Like I always say, the league rule is we have to put 5 guys on the ice. That's a league rule. But in this case, now he's playing the wing. We want him to, touch the puck. What he's really good at is skating, is space. He's got some swagger. He believes, he can be in the NHL. He's physically ready to be there. He's got a lot of components to his game that tells us he's going to be an excellent player, and I truly believe he will be. But early in the season, we sheltered him a little bit. These on face-offs, for example, we kept him away from that. Managed his minutes in order to put him in a successful position. And then we had some injuries. He was put on the ice against the Matthews of this world, the top players on this world, or the other team was matching those guys against them. So he gained that experience. And now, recently, he was a little bit more thinking a little bit too much. And that's normal for any young players. It doesn't matter how good you are, that's the NHL. And because of that, his pace was going down a little bit and getting a little bit frustrated in some ways. So we put him on the wing with Boone Jenner and just play. He knows the systems. We all make mistakes. It's a game of mistakes, but we don't want to lose that confidence that he has. So playing with our very reliable guy in Boone Jenner, being on the wing, using his skate, and not thinking as much as a center, we think it's the right path.
What do you see in Johnny Gaudreau? Where are you at with his game right now?
Well, he's very dynamic. His instincts are off the chart. When he moves his feet, he's one of the best in the NHL at making plays. His vision is tremendous. So this year for him, and for the whole team, to be honest, it was new coach, new systems, new everything. The standards are different. Everything we're trying to elevate, all aspects of culture and everything. I think there was a period of adjustment that we went through, and now we're consistently playing more of a 60-minute game. Having said that, we didn't see the result of the last game, but the 40 minutes against the Edmonton Oilers for Johnny and the rest of the team, because I want to put him in the category of the team concept, and that was probably 2 of our best periods of the season. Now our job is to sustain it, and we expect from guys like Johnny and Boone Jenner, and now Zach Werenski is back in the lineup, to show the way. And that's what we've been seeing. We were in games early in this season. Johnny was part of that, not creating as much as we would like to. That's the honest truth. But we've seen Johnny taking over. And he's not the most vocal person. His way of leading is on the ice and moving his feet and being a difference maker. So we're seeing that more and more.